Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters. We're in Nice, France, the French Riviera. And yes, the Riviera is really cool, but it's not as cool as you think it's going to be. And that's why today we have 5 more things that are overrated about Europe. And the first thing I want to talk about is, since I'm here in Nice in the French Riviera, is the Riviera. You should know that yes, this is the playground of Europe, but it's the playground of the very rich Europe. So if you're coming here, make sure you realize you bring your wallet and you're prepared for that. Make sure you're booking your accommodations early because it gets overpacked in the summer. May with the festivals like Cannes Film Festival or the Monaco Grand Prix. The summer when you have just all of Europe coming down here, it does get so packed and so full you get kind of overrun. Also, there's a lot of pickpocketing, there's a lot of thievery sometimes down here on the Riviera, so you really need to pay attention when you're here. And so if you're expecting this sophisticated kind of James Bond French Riviera thing, you might not have that when you're here, so just pay attention. It's still cool to visit, but don't expect to be all, you know, James Bond Casino Royale kind of things when it's not always necessarily that way. The second thing that's kind of overrated about Europe is, I would say, the snobbish and anti-Americanism that you hear about France, specifically France. We've been traveling from the very north of France to here in the very south of France, and the people have been fantastic. No, not everyone does speak English, but you know what? In the tourism industry in France, tons of people do speak English because tourism is one of the biggest parts of their economy, and so they do speak English, and the people are friendly. And of all my times here in France, and we're talking over 30 times in France, I have never had any anti-American anything happen to us. Have we had some bad service? Well, yes, but you have that anywhere in the world. But just know that this anti-American, snobbish France doesn't exactly exist. Yes, some waiters will be that way, but you get that everywhere. Now, the third overrated thing I want to tell you about is Pisa in Italy. You know the Leaning Tower of Pisa? Literally, that's all you're going there to see. You see the Leaning Tower and the baptistry that's there, which is actually really cool, and that's it. Use Pisa as a day trip from Lucca or Florence. You don't actually need to stay in Pisa, okay, because it is totally overrated. You go see the tower, you go see the baptistry, and you're like, okay, what else is there? And there's not much, okay? So that's the next thing. The fourth thing on our second list of overrated Europe is also in Italy. When you go to Venice, the gondola rides. It's not so romantic and crazy like you think. It's really expensive, you know, 70, 80 euros to go for a ride, okay? Maybe they sing, maybe they don't. You just feel like they're just pushing you around, and you might think, why did I pay for this? So just know that you might feel it's a little overrated going on the gondola ride. And now the fifth thing on our second list of overrated Europe is Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in London. I meet lots of tourists that want to go there and think, oh, I want to see it. Yes, you can see a wax replica of George Washington or, you know, Queen Elizabeth. But the thing is, it's extremely expensive. I went there a few years ago. It was 25 pounds. And at that time, that was $50 to go in. It is not cheap to go there. And honestly, it's not really, from my opinion, it's not worth the fee to go in. So what you should do is go to the British Museum or the National Gallery, which are free in London, and enjoy those instead, okay? And the sixth thing that's overrated about Europe is, I guess it would be people's perception of how expensive it is to go travel Europe. We go all the time. It is not that expensive. Yes, the flights to Europe are more expensive than flying in the US, but once you get to Europe, hotels are cheaper, eating out is cheaper, traveling around the countries are cheaper, and you can really get a better, longer vacation traveling Europe than you can the US. We went 6 weeks this summer in the US and Canada. For the amount of money I spent in the US and Canada, we could have spent 2 or 3 months traveling Europe, and I'm not just saying cheap places like Portugal and Spain, I'm saying all over Europe. So if you're thinking it's too expensive for you to go, realize there are things you can do to save money to travel Europe. And we have a video, 10 ways to save money in order to travel internationally. Because you know what? It's not that expensive once you get over here, okay? Now, those are just 6 little things that we think are overrated about traveling in Europe. We've got another video for more overrated things out there. If you want to see that one, just click over here or go in the bottom of the information. We'll have a link for that video there. Anyway, we hope you have a great time traveling in Europe, and au revoir from Nice, France on the Riviera. Cool, but a little overrated. So, au revoir. Bye.